The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Danny Laurel, bringing you the biggest headlines from around the world. The United States is urging China to stop its military pressure against Taiwan. This comes after Beijing launched military drills near Taiwan in response to the recent U.S. trip of Taiwanese Vice President William Lai. The U.S. now calls on China to engage in a, quote, meaningful dialogue with Taiwan instead. It also said that Washington would continue to monitor the drills closely. At least 50 Chinese aircraft and ships are reportedly involved in the drills. Beijing has repeatedly called on the U.S. not to engage with Taiwan, which the Chinese government claims as part of its territory. Meanwhile, some residents in Taiwan are unfazed by the Chinese military activities.
I don't think a war will happen, and I'm unafraid because they have been saying it for a long time. My feeling is that if a real war breaks out, there will be a lot of problems. Besides, there's the US.
The Niger Junta leader Abdurrahman Tiani claims that their transition to a republic will last for about 3 years. In a televised address, Tiani also maintained that they are open to dialogues. Meanwhile, the West African bloc, ECOWAS, is in Niger to pursue diplomatic ways to reverse the coup that occurred last month. Droves of pro-coup demonstrators flooded Niamey, calling on the delegates to engage in diplomatic talks with the junta leader. Last Friday, ECOWAS doubled down on their threat to use force to restore democracy if necessary. Tiani, meanwhile, cautioned that Niger was ready to defend itself if needed. Ecuadorians vote for their new chief executive and legislature in an elections marred by murder of a presidential candidate. Security became a major concern following the assassination of Fernando Villavicencio. He was shot and killed in a campaign event earlier this month. Other candidates also reported attacks against them. For Ecuadorians, their primary priority right now is security, followed by economy and jobs. Local authorities said the voting proceeded peacefully on Sunday. Meanwhile, 6 suspects were charged with Villavicencio's murder. Another suspect died in a shootout with the authorities. In Guatemala, people also voted in a presidential runoff election. A runoff election is a 2-round system of voting. Guatemala's first round was in June, and this comes after years of widespread allegations of corruption and creeping authoritarianism in the country. Whoever's elected will assume power in a country where violence and food insecurity trigger fresh waves of migration. The president-elect is scheduled to take office on January 14th, 2024. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. watching One News Now. I'm Dani Laurel. Tropical storm Hillary lashes the Baja California Peninsula as it moved towards the U.S. Southwest. Supermarkets saw shelves nearly cleared as residents stocked up on food and supplies. Locals also filled up their own sandbags used to divert floodwaters from their homes. Forecasters warned it would trigger life-threatening and catastrophic flooding amid historically large rainfall. Hundreds of flights have also been canceled across San Diego and Los Angeles. The storm has already battered Mexico, where it left at least one dead amid reports of flash floods. Wildfires tore through Washington state over the weekend, leaving one person dead. 3 fast-moving wildfires have burned nearly 18,900 acres and destroyed almost 200 buildings in Spokane County. Washington state authorities declared a state of emergency and ordered evacuations. Now, over in British Columbia in Canada, wildfires intensified, doubling the number of people under evacuation orders. Authorities said some 35,000 people were ordered to evacuate and a further 30,000 were under an evacuation alert. The fire is centered around Kelowna, that's some 300 kilometers east of Vancouver, with a population of about 150,000. Russia's first moon mission in 47 years fails after its Luna 25 spacecraft smashed into the moon. Russian state space corporation Roscosmos said it lost contact with the craft, which spun out of control before crashing. The company said the craft was shunted into pre-landing orbit. Failure for the Prestige mission underscores the decline of Russia's space power. Moscow has been racing against India, whose spacecraft is set to land on the moon's south pole this week. And those are the top world headlines of the hour. Join us again at 9:45 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Dani Laurel. The FIBA World Cup starts August 25th. Support Gilas, support Team Pilipinas. Watch and buy tickets to the biggest sports event of the year.